What you are about to see is how to get 18 kills in the space of 7 minutes and how to abuse that completely to get a shit ton of Silver Lions. Hello you sexy beasts and welcome back to War Thunder. This is the M4A3E2 Jumbo, which by the way, Americans, listen to me, why do you complain about German tank names being so complicated when you put this in the title of your tank? This tank has recently been down tiered, just an American heavy tank with a 75mm gun and a shit ton of armor. It is now at battle rating 4.7 and as such can face anything between 3.7 and 5.7 in arcade mode. Now, 5.7 is where the Tigers are, but given the prevalence of the T-34s, M4s and Panzer IVs at 3.7, this thing very rarely gets up tiered. Now, when this thing gets down tiered and stays at the max BR, let's just say this thing is actually overpowered, especially in arcade mode where people don't really know how to take this thing down. Why is it overpowered, you ask? Well, at battle rating 4.7 you get a tank that has better armor than the Tiger, and yeah, a whole battle rating lower. The frontal turret armor is 177mm thick. Forget about it, nothing can patch this thing at its own battle rating. The lower plate is between 140 to 160mm thick depending on the plates that you hit. This just forget it, just angled. Then you have two overlapping plates over here which in total are about 100mm thick and give about a 130mm effective thickness. This is actually where you can penetrate this tank with certain guns, mostly tank destroyers, but everything else will just bounce harmlessly off. And of course, given that you do have 76mm of side armor, you can sidestep this thing quite effectively. Now, why do you need to know all of this? I mean, in the title it says something along the sides of OP broken way to get Silver Lions, not clickbait 2016 gone sexual, right? Well, let's just say that this thing is an absolute beast when it comes to seal clubbing. This is the actual definition of seal clubbing. When the game first came out, the T-34 was kind of the king when it came to seal clubbing, just because balancing mechanics were very strong at that moment and the T-34s would just absolutely wreck everything. But now, this thing, with the amount of armor that it has, at 4.7, and given that it faces 3.7 most of the time, oh my god. So, let's get to the point. Why is this so overpowered? How do you get so many Silver Lions? Well, the Jumbo has a Silver Line boost in arcade mode of 195% with a premium account, right? Which by itself is already pretty good. You can easily make a ton of money just from this Jumbo alone, without any boost, even without premium. What if I told you there's a premium version of it too? Essentially what you get is not one Jumbo, but two Jumbos. And this one gets a 300% Silver Line boost. What this results in is very consistent matches where you get over 100,000 Silver Lines per match. And given the nature of arcade battles, they are very short. Not even kidding, with these tanks you can make over 500,000 Silver Lines per hour. Oh, but wait, that's not the only thing. See, people often disregard the wagers because they are frankly just useless in most cases. But in this case, with how amazingly overpowered this thing can actually be, and how, well, yes, you get very consistent matches, use your wagers. Thunder wagers, best squad wagers, even Golden Battles wagers. This is the tank that at the moment completely abuses the system and enables you to win wagers left and right. Take for example this Thunder wager that I have at the moment. What this needs me to do is reach the end of the battle with the most kills, right? And that is really quite easy to do. Even though the 75mm gun on the Jumbo is quite bad, since it has a very low penetration, it is more than enough to go through most 3.7 tanks. Really, the only problem you're going to have is against other Jumbos or other M4s, but they aren't really going to have the gun to penetrate you either, right? So essentially what you can do is just stack game after game after game where you rush right into the enemy spawn, kill everything you see, have two spawns with the premium one and the regular one, and just complete wager after wager. And as soon as I finish this one, which is quite likely to do, I'm going to get 500,000 Silver Lines on top of all the Silver Lines I already make per battle. Oh, but don't think it just stops at the wagers. No! You have the orders as well, which can activate in the battle. For example, just as you are about to encounter a wave of enemies. Activate one of these, there's another 10,000 silver lines. Now here's the thing, you can definitely do this in realistic mode as well. It is, however, going to be harder and it's not going to be as efficient. I do definitely recommend, if you are low on silver lines and if you need silver lines, use this method, but for arcade mode, because it's much faster, you get much more silver lines, it's much more consistent and much more efficient, if it makes any sense. And that is pretty much it. So to recap, how you get an absolute shit ton of silver lines every single game and every single hour. Grab yourself a jumbo, if you can afford it, if you have it already. Grab yourself the Cobra King. That's one of the few times I actually recommend getting a premium tank that's the same as a regular tank. Go into arcade mode, activate a wager, activate an order, and just wreak havoc. And of course, if you do have silver line boosters, use those as well. Anyways, lads, I'm going to leave the rest of the gameplay running if we still have some time left over. I'm actually not too sure because I'm doing this recording whilst not looking at the gameplay. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, do leave a like rating. Tell me what you think about this completely broken method at the moment. Gaijin will have to fix this eventually, so use this whilst you can, is what I'm trying to say, okay? If things change, if the battle rating changes, this method's probably going to be disabled, if it makes any sense, but at the moment it just works. It just works. So enjoy the rest of the gameplay, I'll see you in the next video, and as always, my name is MikeGoesBoom, and thank you for watching.
Your head up to the sky. Take a deeper breath and give it time. You can walk the path among the lines with your shattered frame of mind. Or instead you could always stay. We can wait right here and play until somehow you can